This is North Georgia's News Talk.
WDUN. This girl is on fire.
Good evening. Thanks for being with us on Game On. I am your wayward host, Katie B. Davis, joined as I am every Monday by SB Nation writer Brent Holloway. Don't forget, folks, we're streaming live video on AccessNorthGA.com. And if you want to tell your friends where they can find us, tell them to go to WDUN.com or download our app, Access WDUN. You can find us either one of those ways as well. Coming up in 11 minutes or so, we'll give you a chance to enter to win our Christmas at Gaylord Opryland Resort giveaway. Christmas at Gaylord Opryland Resort, whatever. Presented by Climate Solutions. Details are on the contest page of WN.com, but trust me when I say you don't want to miss the giveaway again. Coming up in about 11 minutes, maybe 12. Also, coming up this hour, who is Hudson Mason and why should Georgia fans be excited? And why do people take such great pleasure in Florida being downed by an FCS opponent? Brent and I are going to dive into all of those topics and more. And if at any time you want to join in the conversation, please do so by giving us a call at 770-535-2911. Your comments, your questions, always welcome between 7 and 8 during Game On WDUN. Now, first up, Georgia's 59-17 win Saturday against Kentucky overshadowed by an injury to Aaron Murray.
Yeah, he just didn't want to leave. He didn't want to get out, and that's why you just didn't know how severe it was. You knew something was going on. And he had, I think a week ago, his back got hurt a little bit, you know, and we thought that's what it was. And as it turned out, it was his knee. And then we had already made the sub. We were going with Hudson, and then and Murray was on the bike and everything. And I said, anybody tell Murray yet, you know? So I'm going to tell Murray that you're out. And he just was adamant that he wanted to play, that he was fine. And then so I said, get on the headset and convince your coach, you know. And so he got on the phone to Mike, and then you know, Mike's like, I better see you running around on the sideline before I put you back in there. And he convinced him that he could go back in and play, and so he did. But as it went on, it was pretty evident that he wasn't safe to be out there.
That was Georgia coach Mark Richt in his post-game press conference after the 59-17 Georgia victory over Kentucky. Brent, should Aaron Murray have gone back into the game after he supposedly heard a pop, and it was on the read option where he ran, I don't know, about 24 yards downfield. Supposedly heard a pop on that play. Goes back to the bench. They knew something was wrong with him. Should he have gone back in the game?
I mean, honestly, I feel like whatever damage was done was already done.
Yeah.
I don't think it really makes a difference one way or the other. And you could say, you know, they were rolling, doing whatever they wanted to do offensively. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and put in your quarterback. I'd say it's still too early to go that route. So, yeah, I don't have a problem at all with them sticking him back out there. The kid, you know, you're only going to know so much on the sideline without the the benefit of an MRI and all these other you know medical tests that you can run. And if the kid's telling you he can play, at some point, you know, you've just got to trust him. And of course, Murray being the warrior that we know him to be, you know, he's gonna do whatever he can to be back out there.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, if we thought that his legacy was solidified after that a tuck and run against Auburn that tied the game last weekend, we had no idea what was coming. 13 plays he played with a torn ACL. And now, listen, being a former basketball player, I can tell you this. I've seen many ACL tears. I've been around the rehab, the ensuing rehab, I should say, the rehab thereafter. The problem is not running north-south. The problem is going east-west. It's cutting. And I will also add to this, because there's been a lot on, those blogs that we love so much. Those what are they? Like Dog Post and all those. What are those called?
The message boards?
The message boards.
Yeah.
There's been a lot on the message boards. He shouldn't have gone back in the game. We were already up 4 touchdowns, and why would you? If he didn't tear his ACL on that read option, he was going to tear it next week against Georgia Tech. It's going to happen. They don't get stronger.
Right.
It's going to happen. So I'm with Brent there. Got no problem with him going back in the game. The future's now for the University of Georgia, and we'll get to Hudson Mason shortly here on Game On. But Aaron Murray, considering rehab goes well, and if his mentality in 4 years at Georgia is any indication, the rehab's going to go great. He's probably going to come back stronger than ever. What are his realistic NFL prospects?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, and quarterback, evaluation is such a tricky thing. I mean, you could look at last year's draft board. And it was Matt Barkley at the top and, Tyler Wilson right there.
Right.
And these things fluctuate, and you see more movement in the quarterback rankings after the season ends when teams can work them out, get to the pro day, see what they can do, and put them through the combine, and they'll get a better feel, and we'll all know a little bit more at that point, what his prospects are. From what we've seen, we know we've got a guy with the leadership skills, which, sounds like a cliche, but really it's not. It's there's no more important position where leadership is a factor than quarterback.
Yeah.
There's the accuracy, which I think is bigger than a strong arm, which would be probably Murray's weakness. It's not that he has a weak arm, but he doesn't have that.
Pinpoint. Yeah.
The arm is going to just knock you down.
Right.
But he is accurate. He's mobile enough, and I don't think that'll be too affected by the knee injury. With the way Adrian Peterson has proven you can overcome catastrophic knee injuries. I think we've got a guy who can play. And what's going to happen if the projections at this point hold true, you're going to get a second or third round pick most likely. And I think it works out well for Murray because he's not going to be entrusted with the keys to a franchise.
Yeah.
And you're not going to end up in a terrible situation where, hey, here's a 2-14 team, go turn us around.
Right.
And so he's going to get a chance to develop and naturally progress into the role.
On a scale of Matt Stafford to Tim Tebow?
He's probably a 5. I think he's somewhere in between and could break either way. Like I said, it's... I was the guy who wrote that Matt Ryan was the next Joey Harrington. So maybe don't ask me. But
now hold on, Brent. Hold on, Brent.
He did throw 19 picks his senior year at Boston College.
And he threw 19 in 2 games. No, it was more like 7. But Matt Ryan was the right guy at the right time.
Yeah.
If the Falcons...
And he had the intangibles that we didn't know not watching Boston College play.
Exactly. And one of the biggest intangibles was he wasn't Mike Vick. You weren't going to have to worry about his off-the-field shenanigans. So he came along at the right time for the Falcons. Now, I think if the Falcons... If they were coming off an NFC championship, would they have picked a Matt Ryan? I mean, do you know what I mean?
No,
they
absolutely not. No, he was a guy, and that was my biggest criticism with the pick. I thought at the time that we were getting way off topic now, but
that's fine. It's cool. Whatever.
I thought at the time they were going for that face of the franchise more than they were going for a real building block of the future. And I thought it was a reach to take Matt Ryan at that point. And Glenn Dorsey was sitting out there, who everybody loves so much. And of course, as it turns out, Glenn Dorsey has been injury riddled, and Matt Ryan is a franchise quarterback. So it's tough to pick these things, but I do feel like, from the skill set that he has and the intangibles that he brings, Aaron Murray will get that chance at the next level.
I think he absolutely will, and I really believe it. And I want to take the running out of it because Chase Daniel more of a dual threat really than Aaron Murray was, but that's kind of who he reminds me of.
That's a good comparison.
Chase Daniel put up these video game like numbers at Missouri, and of course he's drafted by the New Orleans Saints. A good fit for him because. Drew Brees, sort of that prototypical short man quarterback.
I was going to say, physically, they look like the same guy.
Exactly, but that's who I think of Aaron Murray being like, is a Drew Brees. You give him enough time in the pocket, he's going to pick you apart, and he can escape the pocket, but he's not an RG3. He's not a Kaepernick. He's not going to, they're not going to do a read option and running.
Right.
Unless they're playing Tennessee and need a 70-yard game.
And he doesn't have that howitzer. But you don't need that. Like I said, the biggest things that I think you want to see out of an NFL quarterback are decision-making, and we'll talk about this a little bit with Hudson Mason, too. Decision-making and accuracy, and arm strength would be third. And Jamarcus Russell, I think, is the perfect demonstration of the negative.
Oh, Purple Drank. No. Don't be dissing on Purple Drank, Brent.
I mean, I hope he's having fun down there in South Alabama, but that comeback ain't happening.
No, it's not happening. Not happening at all. You know what comeback is happening, though? Game On, right after a short break. And when we do return, we are doing our Christmas Gaylord Opryland Resort. It's going to take me a couple times to get that one right, Brian. Christmas at Gaylord Opryland Resort giveaway, and we are going to talk the future of Georgia Bulldogs offense. Hudson Mason, come on back and join us.
From the WDUN Milton Martin Honda 24-hour newsroom, forecasters say freezing rain is possible in parts of the North Georgia mountains overnight. Details at accessnorthga.com and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
This holiday season, celebrate beloved traditions and make new ones at Gaylord Opryland, A Country Christmas, presented by Kodak, November 15th through January 1st. Enjoy spectacular holiday decor, dining, and entertainment, including the Radio City Christmas Spectacular, starring the Rockettes, Lori Morgan's Enchanted Christmas Dinner Show, and Ice is back with an all-new theme featuring Frosty the Snowman. Visit Christmas at GaylordOpryland.com to plan your holiday getaway today. Experience A Country Christmas, November 15th through January 1st with Ice, featuring Frosty the Snowman. Join Frosty in a colorfully frozen retelling of this original Christmas classic. Favorite scenes come to life in more than 2 million pounds of hand-carved ice sculptures and slides. Plus, the all-new bonus scene featuring the holiday sights and sounds of New York City and the awe-inspiring Nativity in Ice. For tickets and packages, visit Christmas at GaylordOpryland.com.
So glad we left that stupid party.
No joke.
Hey, baby, are you an overdue library book? Because you got fine written all over you.
Ugh, barf.
What about that girl with the hoop earrings?
Ridiculous. When she was dancing...
Megan, look out, look out! Oh, my God, Becky. Becky, are you okay?
My arm. I think it's broken.
Can you bend it?
It's already bent in the wrong direction.
I can't believe this. I'm so sorry. I only had a few drinks. I was just buzzed.
Really? Just buzzed?
Yeah, I swear.
Well, in that case, my arm is fine. Ah, that's better.
You're really okay? You're serious, Becky?
No, genius. I'm not serious. Ow! My arm, it hurts.
Buzzed driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
See Harrison Tire now through December 2nd, 2013, and get a $50 MasterCard reward card after submission when you buy any set of 4 new BF Goodrich tires. Upgrade your drive today. Harrison Tire has the expert tire service you need to take your car's performance to the next level. Reward card eligibility is limited in tire purchases from participating dealers only. Offer expires 12/2/2013. Void where prohibited. Harrison Tire, Gainesville's oldest tire dealer, serving Northeast Georgia for over 80 years. West Academy Street, downtown Gainesville.
When it comes to the latest local news, sports, and weather online, you get everything except a subscription fee with AccessNorthGA.com. So log on for free. Powered by North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Friends with the monster,
Can you believe it? Christmas almost here. And to make sure everyone is in the holiday spirit, WDUN has teamed up with Climate Solutions and the Gaylord Opryland Resort in Nashville for a huge promotion. One lucky winner is going to receive a Christmas at Gaylord Opryland Resort prize pack valued at over $1,000. It includes 2 nights traditional room accommodations, 2 tickets for Ice featuring Frosty the Snowman, 2 tickets to the Radio City Christmas Spectacular, 2 tickets to Lori Morgan's Enchanted Christmas Dinner and Show, 2 tickets to Holly Jolly Town Square, and a plethora of other things. In order to be in the running for the Christmas at Gaylord Opryland Resort, you need to be the 6th caller in to 770-535-2911. And what will you get right now? Well, a planned service agreement, care of Climate Solutions, for a fall tune-up and safety inspection and spring tune-up and energy-saving inspection. This is a 14-point check-in system, making sure that all voltage amps are correct and your system is working correct and safely. The value is $145, all free, no matter how many systems you have in your home. 6th caller in to 770-535-2911. You will not only get a free planned service agreement from Climate Solutions, but you will be entered to win the Christmas at Gaylord Opryland Resort prize pack. And let me remind everyone out there who is not our sixth caller into Game On tonight, this Monday night, that you can go to the contest page of WDUN.com and enter for this Christmas at Gaylord Opryland Resort prize giveaway. But we are looking for the sixth caller in to 770-535-2911. Brian will take down your information, and we will make sure that you get the free plan service agreement from our friends at Climate Solutions. In the meantime, in between time, Hudson Mason is the new quarterback at the University of Georgia, will be the starting quarterback not just this weekend because Aaron Murray had a season-ending ACL tear. He is having surgery tomorrow. Not just the starting quarterback for the bowl game, but the starting quarterback next season, his senior season at the University of Georgia. Brent, not a lot known by Georgia fans about this young man, only because he hasn't gotten a lot of meaningful snaps. Redshirted last year, but in the 2 years prior, he had just 47 completions for 356 yards and 3 touchdowns. And when I say just 47 completions, he only passed the ball about 54 times. I mean, He didn't have a good number of attempts. He's completed 62.2% of his passes during his Georgia career. He's 51 of 82. 51 of 82 his whole Georgia career. 705 yards, 5 touchdowns to 1 interception. It's interesting to talk with you about this young man because how we know of him is what he did in high school. Mm-hmm. And boy, was he good.
Yeah, he lit it up.
He at Lassiter High School, he was unbelievable. Just a couple things about him, folks. The 2009 Georgia Gatorade Player of the Year, the 2009 Georgia Sports Writers Association All-Class Player of the Year, and Class 5A All-State Team. He was a 2009 Parade Magazine All-American. And that's just the tip of a very, very large iceberg for Hudson Mason. I spoke to you about this off air, Brent. I have the giddies about Hudson Mason. Should I and should the Georgia faithful?
I mean, I think it's an exciting time. You don't often get the chance to get a sneak peek of the future in a situation where the rest of the season is pretty secure. There's not a ton on the line. Of course, you want to beat Georgia Tech, primary rival, at least in terms of geography.
No offense.
Really, certainly not. But we don't often see, like I said, a chance to get a real look at this guy in a pressure situation, but in a situation where you feel like you're going to win. You feel like you've got the superior talent. So it's really unique. Now, what do we know about him? Not a whole lot. I mean, I think it's telling that despite all those huge numbers that he put up in high school, the big offers didn't roll in.
No, not at all.
Until very late, he was he was looking like he was going to be a lower D1 or maybe an FCS type of kid. I think we've seen enough to know that he was under-recruited. Now, like we were talking about with Aaron Murray, he doesn't have a big arm. I think he even has a lesser arm than Murray, but he does look accurate from what we've seen, and that's the biggest thing. Mark Richt earlier this week compared him to David Green, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Both of these guys are going to get rid of the ball on time. You're going to trust them to put it where it needs to be, and have the ability to put it in those tight spaces. Now, is he going to, throw a 25-yard out and stick it on the numbers? Maybe not. But if you're getting rid of the ball a step quicker, a beat quicker, you don't have to throw it as hard. So this will be a really interesting situation because, Tech's not known for their defense, but they've played better defense this year. So it's a really nice litmus test. And if it goes poorly, I don't think, the ceiling is, or the sky is falling and everybody needs to freak out because it'll be his first start. That said, if he goes in a pressure situation against a legitimate team and looks good, then, the excitement's only going to build going into the next year.
Before we continue, I want to congratulate Robert Morgan of Gainesville, who won the plan service agreement from Climate Solutions, and in winning that is in the running for our Christmas at Gaylord Opryland Resort prize giveaway. We will be giving another plan agreement away tomorrow, maybe even the next day, so you all make sure that you're tuned in to Game On for that. But congratulations, Robert. Thank you for calling in, and thank you for listening to Game On. In just 2 years as a starter for Lassiter High School, Hudson Mason compiled 8,265 yards passing, 85 touchdowns, set a Georgia State record for passing yards, touchdowns in a season. season, had 4,500 passing yards, 54 touchdowns in the season, set state records for passing yards in a single game against South Gwinnett with 552. Helped lead Laster to a 12-1 record and first region championship in school history in 2009, and as a junior, passed for 3,705 yards and 28 touchdowns. It's odd when you think about a young man going into his senior year in high school, and the only thing you have to go on where feeling him out as a starter's concerned are his high school numbers. Hudson Mason, he's had snaps. Most of them have come in G-Day games. He hasn't had the meaningful game snaps. And you just said it, even going against a team like Georgia Tech, not known for its defense, the heebie-jeebies might get to him just because it is such a big rivalry game. But I was watching him pass, and here's what I can say about him. The first pass he threw, whoa, he throws a pretty ball.
Yeah.
Aaron Murray's throws look forced. Love the kid. Great quarterback for 4 years. Great. Threw it to A.J. Green. Hudson Mason, it's effortless.
Right.
He's just flinging the ball. Almost it's like with his wrist. He throws a pretty ball. But I didn't see him throw it more than 30 yards.
That's the thing. And word of warning here, I'm going to praise Mike Bobo, so you might want to turn down your radio. I thought he did a really good job of easing him into it, of calling a game that was suited to what Mason can do. And, I don't want to make it sound like, he's so limited, because he's not. He's a very capable college quarterback. But he did a good job of setting him up with some screens, with some quick reads that he can just see the pass, hit the man, move the chains onto the next down, build that confidence. And, I think with the whole week for Mason, who's not, he didn't have a lot of experience, but he's not a young kid.
He's not.
He's been around.
Yeah.
He's he's savvy. He's a smart enough guy with a full week of snaps. He was going in there last week, having taken 10% probably of first team reps, if that.
Yeah.
So with the full week, knowing he's the guy, with them to build a game plan, I think he's going to do well.
David Green, DJ Shockley were the 1 and 2 quarterback. The 2005, 6, 7, 8 season, something like that, or 6, 7, 8.
2, 3, 4.
Yeah. The 1 and 2 quarterback. And Mark Richt split time between the two of them. I didn't like that approach because I think it messed with each's head. And so neither played up to their potential because of that. He didn't do that with Aaron Murray and Hudson Mason, when in fact he could have, because skill level-wise, at least coming out of high school, these two guys were much the same. They also had Zach Mettenberger, though, at least when Aaron Murray was coming in. They redshirted Hudson Mason last year to prepare him for next year.
Right.
Agree, disagree with the two quarterback system. Should that, and of course hindsight's 20/20. Who knew Aaron Murray would get hurt? But should that be applied in this kind of situation?
No, it almost never works.
Yeah.
I think Buford High School this year and last year may be one of the rare exceptions, and you could probably point out a handful of others. There was no reason to. You had a guy who'd been starting since his redshirt freshman year in Aaron Murray, who won the trust of his teammates, I think, very early with some big plays and some big games. And say, he's your guy. You ride him, and you get. I think they've done a good job of getting Mason ready and had the foresight to see that, okay, he's going to beat out Christian LeMay. He's going to be the next guy on campus, and so let's go ahead and redshirt him. They've done a good job of getting themselves prepared in the event that, unfortunately, like we're experiencing now, where Aaron Murray's out.
Yeah. Well, the future is now for the Georgia Bulldogs. It began in the third quarter last week, and it continues this week against Georgia Tech. Tomorrow on Game On, I will break down the Georgia Tech game in only the way that Katie B. Davis can. I don't know what that means, but darn it, it sounds good, doesn't it? When we come back, should Will Muschamp be fired? Why does everyone think Florida getting beat is so funny? We'll also break down the Heisman. Who is in the running? Who should be in the running? Why Johnny Manziel and Marcus Mariota might not be in the running anymore. Y'all come back and join us. This is Game On WDUN.
It's Bill and Joel of WDUN Morning News with today's survey question. Do you agree with the technology company's plan to create a statewide database of all student information?
Log on and let us know at accessnorthga.com. Powered by North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. And download our free app, Access WDUN, presented by the Norton Agency.
WDUN Gainesville. WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville.
It's 7:30.
News Radio. I'm Lisa Lucera. The deadly storm that's slamming the south about to make a turn towards the mid-Atlantic and northeast, and it could become a travel nightmare just in time for Thanksgiving travel. One New York airport already preparing.
The Port Authority, which is responsible for the airports in New York, says standard precautions are already in place. That means they have cots and blankets ready. They also say that in each of the terminals, at least one food service is going to be open at least 24 hours.
Fox's David Lee Miller. During an immigration event in San Francisco, President Obama interrupted.
One protester yelled at President Obama to stop deportations using his executive power.
Let me. How about these guys don't need to go. Let me finish.
He told them he needs Congress to pass laws and that there is bipartisan support in the Senate.
Fox Radio's Jessica Rosenthal. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Local and live. This is WDUN News.
Good evening. From the WDUN Milton Martin Honda 24-hour newsroom, I'm Brian Perkle. Hundreds of veterans returning home from active duty could find work with a call center in Gwinnett County being established by Vet Connects. WDUN's BJ Williams has the story.
Vet Connect says the customer service contact center will open at a facility on Breckenridge Boulevard in the greater Gwinnett Place Opportunity Zone. The center is designed for 300 agents. Vet Connect hires veterans who are trying to reacclimate to civilian life after deployment. Gwinnett County Chamber officials said in a press statement the move is a plus for the county's newest incentive zone in the Gwinnett Place area.
With a vote on the acceptance of the Braves' move to Cobb County a day away, another group is crying foul. Georgia Sierra Club director Colleen Kiernan says the move is wasteful.
We find ourselves in an era where we're all having to do more with less, but this proposal seems out of touch with that reality and is attempting to do less with more.
Should the Cobb County Commission vote in favor of the move, Kiernan says the Georgia Sierra Club will advocate for light rail into Cobb and saving Turner Field from demolition. It was a busy Sunday for White County firefighters who were dispatched to reports of fires at 4 homes in the county. According to White County Public Safety Director David Murphy, the first call came just before 5 a.m. and a mobile home in the Sauté area was destroyed. The second call came around 9:30 to a house in Helen, and the other 2 calls also involved burning homes in the area. There were no injuries, and all appear to be accidental, according to Murphy. There's more news at accessnorthga.com. And now the WDUN AccuWeather forecast.
For tonight, rain at times. Rain could mix with sleet at the onset. Low 32 to 37. Cold again tomorrow as rain will be heavy at times. High at 42 to 46. Windy with rain continuing on Tuesday night. For AccuWeather.com, I'm Jason Ward.
With partly cloudy skies overhead, it's 38 degrees in Clarksville, 41 in Swanee, and 40 degrees in Gainesville. For North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9, WDUN.
For 20 years, Play It Again Sports has been dedicated to supplying all of North Georgia with the equipment, knowledge, and value to satisfy your fitness and sporting goods needs without breaking your budget. Their unique concept of buying, trading, and consigning both new and used sports and fitness equipment helps you to really stretch your hard-earned dollars without compromising on quality. Stop by Play It Again Sports today and meet their friendly and knowledgeable staff. Get your game on at Play It Again Sports on Dawsonville Highway in Gainesville.
Whether it's a favorite grocery store or a favorite restaurant, the difference in a business is the people. We like to do business with people we know and trust. Our business is no different. This is Ben Mason, and I've been serving Gainesville and North Georgia for decades. I've been with Little Davenport Funeral Home since 1984, and I'm proud to serve alongside the caring professionals with whom I work. We're locally owned and operated, dignified and personal service by folks you know and trust. The choice is clear. Little and Davenport Funeral Home. Know the difference, no peace of mind.
This is North Georgia's News Talk.
You can interact with the show. You can interact with me any way you want to, as long as it's safe. Don't be coming to my house late at night. I'm on Twitter at KTB Davis, the handle, and on Facebook, Game On with KTB Davis. We pose questions to listeners. We pose questions to readers throughout the day. So to interact with Game On, make sure that you go follow me on Twitter and go like our Facebook page. Again, Game On with KTB Davis, the Facebook page, at KTB Davis, the Twitter handle. I'm joined today by my Monday co-host, Brent Holloway. He's a writer for SB Nation and a dear friend of mine. He knows a lot more about sports than I do, too, so it's nice to bounce things off of him. We're going to talk Georgia Southern, sort of, but really we're going to talk about why everyone laughs at Florida. Georgia Southern pretty much took its check and went home Saturday. $550,000 Florida paid the Eagles to embarrass them in the swamp.
All right, guys. Hey, you guys understand what you just did? I want to tell you how proud I am of this team. How proud I am of the effort of you guys. Just an unbelievable effort. And we came in here at halftime down. And that's the third year in a row we've played an SEC team, a very good SEC team, and been down at halftime. And the last two times we haven't been able to go out there in the second half and finish it. I'm so proud of the effort. You guys went out there and played like you were supposed to win. And you know why? You're supposed to win.
Those comments by Eagles coach Jeff Monken in the locker room to his team after Georgia Southern beat Florida 26-20. It was Florida's first loss in school history against a lower division school. Georgia Southern ran for 429 yards with quarterback and former Haversham Central star Kevin Ellison going for 115 and 2 touchdowns. Muschamp was simple in explaining his team's loss and his team not being able to stop Georgia Southern offensively. This is a quote from Mr. Muschamp. This is what they do for a living. It's hard to defend them. Now, here's why it's hard for Florida to defend them, and we'll see if you agree with my assessment, Brent. Defending a triple option predicated on being able to score enough to get them out of the triple option. You have to make them pass the ball. You have to get them out of their comfort zone. Georgia Southern didn't just not complete a pass. They didn't have to attempt a pass. The loss was on Florida's offense. Do you agree with that?
That's an interesting take, and I don't totally disagree, because if you do get ahead, by a comfortable margin, then you see it time and time again. Those teams just can't come back. Now, they can score quick, but can you score quick enough consecutive times to overcome a 21-point deficit? And it almost never happens.
Yeah.
But putting it on one single facet of the Florida, that would be that'd be stealing the fun,
right? Yeah,
from the blame that can be spread all around. I mean, what it comes down to me really is a team that has quit. Hate to say it, but I don't see any other way to explain. And of course, injuries, blah blah blah.
Nah.
Yeah, everybody's got them.
Take Georgia, for example.
Take Georgia Southern, which had like 10 season-ending injuries since August. So don't come to me with that. I know you're on your third quarterback. I don't care. What it comes down to is this team has quit. Look at the disparity between the way they have played early in the season to the way they're playing now. And, I don't think Muschamp is this bad of a coach.
Right.
But he's lost control. And maybe he needs to step back, go be a coordinator for a couple more years and reassess the way he wants to be a head coach before coming back to it. Because I still think he can do it in the long run.
Yeah. I
don't think he's just a coordinator, but this isn't going to be the place for him.
Two things I want to piggyback on your comments with. The first being reports out of Florida from newspapers say that Foley, the athletics director at Florida, wants to keep Will Muschamp, but clean house underneath him.
Right.
Why would you do that? Why not just clean house?
That made sense to me until this past week.
Yeah.
And, granted, you could see in the fourth quarter, those kids were trying.
They were trying to try, though, is the problem.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And they were trying because, of course, they have some pride. They don't want to be the laughingstock, but they didn't come ready to play. They clearly haven't prepared to win.
Mm-hmm.
And up until this week, I was like, get rid of Brent Peace. You got to do something different offensively because it's not working and they have too much talent to struggle this much. We'll do whatever you've got to do to get that offense working, and I feel like the defense is not far away from where they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since that Louisville game, even the defense, other than a few games early in the season, has looked very vulnerable. So Yeah, at this point, I understand Foley came out and said he was 1,000% behind his guy, and then he blows one against Georgia Southern. So, I mean, at this point, he's just doubling down. And I don't know if he means it or not. I kind of think it sounds like they're going to keep him, but it's getting more and more difficult to defend that decision.
You've heard Brent and I both snicker a great deal while talking about this Florida loss, and Brent mentioned, Brent actually said the word laughing stock when talking about Florida in really regards to the rest of the SEC. They have sort of become the laughing stock, if for no other reason than because they do have this plethora of talent that isn't being used properly. Do you put Will Muschamp in the same category as like a Lane Kiffin? Great coordinator, but maybe doesn't need to be the overall leader.
No, because Lane Kiffin's not even a good coordinator.
Yeah, okay, right.
No, I don't know. At this point, that's what he is.
Yeah,
clearly. And I don't think, like I said, I don't think Kiffin's got it. I think Kiffin was born on third base and, got walked home and had these great jobs.
I love that line.
Yeah. I do think Muschamp has an idea of what he wants to do, especially defensively, and knows how to accomplish those things. I don't think at this point he's ready to be a head coach. And there's really no great shame in that. Bill Belichick failed in his first head coaching job. Lots of coaches do. I think he needs to step back, be a coordinator. Maybe this whole coach boom, needs to be toned down a little bit. You don't want to go away from who you are as a guy. But, yeah, I think, he's not there. He doesn't have it figured out from the head coaching perspective quite yet.
It's interesting, too, that you think that his players quit, because I'm hearing that from a lot of people who watched Florida's loss to Georgia Southern last week. I posed this question on Twitter, and Brett and I are going to get into it quickly before we move on to the Heisman mess and this coming weekend's rivalry weekend. Posed this question on Twitter. And it was simply, why have fan bases nationwide, and this is coming from most fan bases, folks. This isn't just the Georgia fan base. Why have fan bases found it so hilarious that Florida lost to Georgia Southern? And some of the feedback we got, John Barry Reese, I've never pondered why. It just feels so good. It's great to be a Gator hater. Nancy Ware said the Gator Chomp hand gesture is the most obnoxious, as are Florida fans. And then our friend Mitch Clark said, you obviously never spent any time in Jacksonville during all those years Florida was beating Georgia, or you'd understand, which is right. Maybe I would. If you want to weigh in, go to the Twitter page at KDB Davis. Respond to the question why it's so funny that Florida lost. A common denominator this weekend. Everybody thought it was hilarious. Oh, and by the way, greatest headline ever written: Gators choke on a cupcake. I'm sorry, hands down. It was awesome. So what is that all about? Why does everybody find it so humorous?
Yeah, I hate to brush or to paint with such a broad brush, but I'm afraid that's what I'm about to do. But the Gator fans that I have encountered, for the most part,
were in Georgia. No, sorry.
Well, there's a sense of self-deprecation most good fans kind of have. You can laugh at your own team. Sure. There's a lot of humor, especially on the internet, about any team you want to find. Gator fans do not have that ability. Okay. They immediately just want to argue and fight with you and scream and yell and take it way personally. And everybody's just trying to, keep it cool and have a good time. And they're telling you how great their offense is going to be this year under Driscoll. And you're like, come on, this is a good thing for us all to laugh at.
Right.
Your offense is terrible.
Yeah.
But, and I must say that, when I was there in the Georgia Dome in 2006, the Florida fans that were around us in the SEC championship were all very nice and classy.
Right.
However, for the large part, the ones that you run into, they just kind of make you want to see them suffer.
Right. They take themselves too seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that ability to laugh at oneself, to be self-deprecating in social situations is like a Southern thing, because, if you think about it, Florida kind of has all the negatives associated with the Southern school, but none of the positives.
Yes.
We got the rednecks.
Right.
The jorts.
Right. That's
but
true.
None of the charm.
No. Not a beautiful campus.
Right.
Well, I mean, they probably have a beautiful campus, but, they don't have like that iconic image on a campus.
Right.
Right. And really nobody else in the SEC has a hand gesture. I mean, they might present a hand gesture if you tick them off, but they don't.
Well, I mean,
you know,
like you got the gig 'em from the Aggies, and you know, you've got
that's not a real SEC school. I mean, like real.
Well, the thing with the you know with the Gators is it's so demonstrative. You can't walk next to them in the tunnel. You know, you're going to get hit by this you know, over the top. You know,
I wonder
gator
how much,
chomp that they're doing.
But I wonder how much Urban Meyer played a role in not being able to laugh at themselves, because you know he and is at Ohio State. I don't think that the man has a sense of humor. He doesn't seem to enjoy the process,
right?
And you could say the same for Nick Saban, but Nick Saban jumped in A.J. McCarron's arms after they beat LSU. Literally, with a smile on his face, ran off the sideline, jumped in his quarterback's arms because he thought it was going to be funny.
They have had some of the more hateable head
Ron
coaches.
Zook, Steve Spurrier.
I didn't hate Zook that much. I mean, he was struggling too much to really get on your bad side. But Spurrier, and like, you know, not having a dog in the fight, not being ribbed by Spurrier, you know, year in and year out. I always kind of thought he was, you know, entertaining, fun to have around the league, you know. But when he turns his, you know, his gaze to you, it's not quite as fun, and he becomes very, very hateable. And yeah, I mean, there's not a lot that's soft and cuddly about Muschamp either. He's just, you know, tirading around on the sidelines, throwing hissy fits and cussing.
Doesn't seem to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why they take themselves too seriously. Anyway, I'm glad we got feedback about that question. I'm glad Brent was here to answer the question.
And if you want good Gator jokes, if you want to see, you know, if you want some real entertainment from this terrible season they're having, go follow Every Day Should Be Saturday on Twitter. He's a Florida fan, and he is just, you know, reveling in the misery, and it's hilarious.
Very nice. Very nice. We'll take your advice and do that. Folks, we're going to come back and wrap up Game On with some Heisman talk, and what matchup should we look forward to this Saturday in Rivalry Weekend? I'm guessing I know which one Brent's going to have his eye on, but you'll get my take as well. Come back and join us. This is Game On.
From the WDUN Milton Martin Honda 24-hour newsroom, the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee holds a field hearing in Gainesville on Obamacare. Details at accessnorthga.com and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-800-642-8896. 1-800-642-8896. That's 1-800-642-8896. 1-800-642-8896.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-800-642-8896. 1-800-642-8896. That's 1-800-642-8896. 1-800-642-8896.
Jimbo Hannon here, inviting you to join me on WDUN. Nobody cares, except I guess a few who tell themselves, well, we've done our job. Weeknights at 10 on North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Welcome back, folks. Thanks for being with us on this cold Monday evening. I hope you're snuggled up on your couch. Maybe in front of a fireplace, listening to us on WDUN.com, tuning in on AccessNorthGA.com. There's a live video feed. Or via our app, Access WDUN. We give you several ways that you can listen to our shows here on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN, and we're glad that you use them all. I'm Katie B. Davis. This is Game On, joined by my Monday co-host, Brent Holloway. He's a writer for SB Nation. There's a bit of a mess in college football right now, and it's not the BCS standings, which are a mess in and of itself. But it seemed pretty clear-cut until this past weekend, at least who the top 5 in the Heisman race were. And while I may disagree with why those are the top 5, it seemed pretty clear-cut that those were the top 5. But then we have Johnny Manziel. He looked abysmal this past weekend against Missouri. No, against LSU. And then we had Marcus Mariota, who looked really bad.
Worse, yeah.
He looked really bad. And so now we're pretty much looking at Marcus Mariota being out of the conversation altogether. Bryce Petty, the quarterback for Baylor, having
also
taken his place.
Good.
No good. A.J. McCarron, Johnny Manziel still in the conversation. And Jameis Winston, and the knock on Jameis Winston, at least right now, is he's got a couple of off-the-field alleged issues.
Right.
So the Heisman, if you could pick a Heisman winner right now, and I think you're an old-school college football fan like I am. You prefer substance over flash. But if you could pick a Heisman winner right now, who would you pick?
Honestly, I have no idea. Until this weekend, I was all about Johnny Manziel, but he got LSU'd pretty hard.
Yeah, he did.
And at this point, I just don't know if you can go with him, even though I still think he's been one of the more phenomenal players in the country and has carried to a large extent.
He's definitely the MVP of his team.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, it's not to say that, he would be having the season he's had without Mike Evans bailing him out, every fourth or fifth row. But nonetheless, he has been, the reason that they have had any success this year at all.
Should it come down to numbers alone? Because if you look at the numbers, Manziel's are better than Winston's, but Jameis Winston has bigger wins, and his team's undefeated.
Yeah, and he's just been so steady. I mean, if it's not for the off-the-field stuff right now, it's Jameis Winston. It's not close. I think people are turning in their ballots.
Yeah.
But we just don't know, and that ugly cloud is hanging over, and, of course, innocent until proven guilty, and we don't have any idea the way that's going to shake out. But that's hanging on the minds of voters, and we don't know if it's going to be resolved by the time the ballots have to be in. So it's just really tough to predict what's going to happen. I'm noticing, I think it's way too late in the game for this kid to get the ball rolling. But Andre Williams at Boston College, if you're looking at stats, has rushed for about 300 yards per game in the last 3 games. He's rushed for more yards this season, over 2,000, than 80 teams.
Wow.
80 D1 teams.
That's unbelievable.
And if you haven't seen him, get on Google and go check him out because he's legit. However, he plays for Boston College, and nobody's even heard of him, for the most part. The casual fan doesn't know who he is and has never seen a game. He's not going to be your Heisman winner.
Right.
I have no idea who he's going to be. A.J. McCarron might slide into this by default, and I don't necessarily have a problem with that. But I think you've probably got a stronger opinion on this than I do.
Well, I go for substance over flash. I think Johnny Manziel is flashy.
Wins are pretty substantive.
Yes,
though,
they are.
But
so has A.J. McCarron's won more,
true.
And he's won more. He's won bigger games, and he's performed better in bigger moments.
How much do you think stats should matter?
No, I do think that they should matter, which is why I'm not talking. If you want, Aaron Murray should be a Heisman winner. Want to know why? Because he played 13 plays of a college football game without an ACL.
Now that's substance.
That's substance. But no. So because I don't actually believe that, yes, numbers matter. But
the argument for McCarron is he's the MVP on the best team. And has been for a number of years, at least if you're talking about the offense. And unfortunately, C.J. Mosley is not going to win the Heisman.
No, he's not.
And he's the best player on that team, and he's not in the conversation, and we'd be wasting our breath to talk about it any further. The thing with McCarron is I do think he's a good quarterback. I think he's more than a game manager. Mm-hmm. But I do also want to look at the stats, and the stats tell me if he was in the Big Ten, which is not a good conference, which does not have very many good quarterbacks, he'd be 5th in passing. That's a hindrance. And, if he slides into it and goes home with the award, that is fine by me. There have been much lesser deserving Heisman winners, Troy Smith, Ohio State, 2006.
I'd forgotten about that kid.
Yeah.
There's a reason why.
Yeah, exactly. There have been worse kids win it than A.J. McCarron, and if he takes it as kind of a career achievement award, it's fine by me, you know?
His odds of winning it right now, 13-2. Bryce Petty, 10-1 odds that he's going to win it. He headlines the nation's top offense that's averaging 61.2 points per game. But, yeah, I
wish that we could ever see some of these guys that play for the BCS Busters, the Fresnos and the Northern Illinois. Both of those
Carr
guys,
kid from Fresno, the quarterback,
he's a first-round draft pick, apparently, at least according to what the experts are saying right now. Threw for 500 yards last week.
Now, is this David Carr's little brother?
It is.
David Carr was a first-round draft pick, too.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
That's what I'm talking.
Well, he didn't have much of a team, and you can't, he spent, I think, the first 3 years of his career desperately on the run for his life. He may still be running, in fact.
So this is before the Houston Texans got J.J. Watt. And
Yeah. And the Jordan Lynch kid at Northern Illinois, from what I've only seen highlights, I can't lie. And I watched, 12 hours of football a weekend, and if I've only seen highlights, he's just not in the public eye enough to garner, serious Heisman consideration. But both of those teams are winning every game they play.
But don't you kind of hate that, at least from what you're saying, that a team has to be in the public eye, a team has to be on national television for someone to get noticed, to be in Heisman contention, and they have to be on it a lot. Like this Bryce Petty guy, Baylor's played on national television twice.
Yeah.
And he's in the conversation after the second time. But, I kind of, that too is also a real problem I have with the Heisman voting.
Whether or not it's right, we could debate. And I could see, I could take either side, I guess, and make an argument for it.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, it's the way it works. If people don't know who you are, if there's not a certain quality that your name carries as far as public recognition, you're just not going to be taken that seriously by many of the voters who you've still got so many really old school type voters who are tuning in to the one big game a week and then, going to bed and hitting the early bird special at Shoney's and then getting to bed by dark. You've got a lot of those guys with ballots and they carry some sway, I'm afraid.
All right. Listen, Brent, we got about a minute left. Rivalry week this week, rivalry weekend, that is very difficult to say, coming up this weekend. What rivalry game are you most looking forward to?
Well, it's obvious.
Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah, Auburn, Alabama. And there are 3 games that have national championship implications, even though, I guess the Florida State game might only be fun just to watch the tires burn in the tire
Exactly,
fire.
so that people can make more jokes next week about Florida. Right.
Ohio State, Michigan's going to be a blowout.
Yeah.
But you get beyond that, you've got good games. Clemson, South Carolina, that's going to
be a great game.
Entertaining football. A&M, Missouri, not really a traditional rivalry, but that's one we picked as an A&M win a few weeks back, and could still go either way, and that has SEC title implications. So
Missouri wins, they're in. Missouri loses, South Carolina going to the SEC championship game. Going to be a great week. We'll talk more about it throughout this week of Game On. We'll be back tomorrow at 7. Sans Brent Holloway, but he'll be back next Monday, so you've got that to look forward to as well. Thanks so much for being with us, folks. For tomorrow, for every day this week, attack it with the mentality, Game On.
She's just a girl, but she's on fire.
Have you ever experienced a human language to be inadequate? Have you ever become so angry that words wouldn't come forth? Have you ever been so happy that tears were all that flowed? Hi, I'm Terry Walton, Senior Pastor of Gainesville First United Methodist Church, and I invite you to join in a holy conversation this Sunday. A generous person once did something for me that overwhelmed my life with goodness. I was speechless as I tried to find the words of gratitude. I don't know what to say, were my words to him. His words to me were, well, you do the same for me, just pay it forward. I've tried to fulfill his wish. This Thanksgiving and Christmas seasons, my prayer is that all of us will look for ways to pay forward that which has been given to us as a blessing. As we do, we'll be a part of making the world a better place, a good place for all humankind. Gainesville First United Methodist Church is a church of open hearts, open minds, and open doors.
The WDUN Gainesville. WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville.
It's 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Jane Metzler.
People just don't realize when they cross those bridges that they've got ice on them, and when they cross it, they lose it.
The timing terrible for Thanksgiving travel. A major winter storm